Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast / YouTube channel. My name is Courtney.
And my name is Hannah.
And we are the Eureka Fact, the podcast where we ponders life's big ideas from the comfort of our tiny apartment.
Vogue. That's how we're gonna get like the drag queen demographic.
Yeah.
And is with that
A little bit of
so
sass.
keep it up, yeah. Just a little disclaimer before we hop into things. We are just two girls shooting the shit. We have no idea what we're talking about. So everything we say is not fact. It's just opinions, and opinions
Are not
just
facts.
That. Yeah, exactly.
Shout out Nick Snyder.
yeah.
Okay, anyway,
Speaking of gay guys, we're doing a whole thing. Do you want to just talk about like being gay? 'Cause it's fun. No?
Okay. Well, I've never personally tried it, but I've definitely had my glimpses where I'm like, could be gay.
You have to be literally made of stone to not be able to admit that women are beautiful creatures.
Oh, yeah, women are way better looking than men.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You never have to have sex with one, but that's just...
It's like I'm emotionally attracted to men. I could not handle a woman, but I feel like I'm not more physically attracted to women than I am men, but I feel like I admire women's beauty. Like, yeah, I'm like a guy, like I'll drive by, I'm like, oh yeah, he's hot, but I'm like in the back of my head, every girl I'm checking out, I'm like,
I think it's because like as women, we appreciate what goes into looking a certain way.
Yeah.
Like when I see a girl's hair a certain color, that's a big deal because my hair is purple. You know what I mean? Like I know what it took to get to that, and it's a fucking lot of work. It's a lot more work than you would think.
Yeah.
Unnecessary work. But.
Yeah, maybe we appreciate each other more, but we also tear each other down
Our bitches,
more.
yeah.
But I feel like the more that I progress in my own spiritual awakening, because let's face it, we all talk shit. I mean, I'm trying not to, and I think it's something that we overcome, especially it's like a high school mentality. But like, I would say something even from a young age, and then I would feel guilty about it, but I almost normalized it because that's what everyone did. I'm not saying like I do. Yeah. Like, there's times where I am the one who is completely in the wrong, and I'm bitching basically to validate myself, which I feel like a lot of people do, or it comes from jealousy. Every like negative, when you put negativity out in the world, it's because there's negativity festering inside your soul.
That's what I was gonna say, because she's brought up a couple times off camera. I think the thing that you see in another person is usually something that you don't like in yourself. I think that's why women are probably so catty towards each other, is because you know you see more parallels in yourself. Well, most people, it depends on your personality too, obviously.
Well, and your level of like awareness, I guess. I have pondered that idea before. Like, it's almost like the ideas popped in my brain, but like I talked myself out of it because I didn't want. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Oh,
like
God,
I told myself I don't like these people because XYZ, but it's because I see myself in them, and it's things that I don't like about myself. And it's a really good tool once you start catching on to that. Like, where is this jealousy, this anger, whatever? Where is it coming from? And is it coming from somewheres where you need to look within yourself to fix it? Like, because I'm trying to think of an example of something that I've worked through.
Like,
in
specifically?
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm not going to lie, something that I've always tried to mask was, like, I like getting attention. I like male attention. I like attention from anybody. I don't necessarily like being the center of attention. Like, I find it's too much pressure. But like other women that were obviously kind of like me, I would feel threatened by, and then I would basically like make up things in my own head as to why I don't like them. The word slut gets thrown out a lot, and it's a terminology that I used to use a lot. Like a lot. And like the more that I go back and analyze when I was using that word a lot, it was because I had something to be insecure about. I was always afraid of people calling me a slut.
Because you were exploring your sexuality at that age, which I think women get. Well, this is like a common thing that's been talked about. Women get the shitty end of that stick in the sex realm when a young female is out exploring their sexuality, they're a slut, but when a man does it, that's what they're doing. But obviously that's changing slowly. I think very slowly, but it is changing.
It is, and I feel like, well,
even internally, I feel like there's, I don't know, we look down on ourselves with sleeping with certain people or doing certain shit, but it's like, you have to make the mistakes, to learn the lessons.
Yes, exactly, and it's all, you're playing the field and you're getting to know yourself, because I believe that everyone that you encounter is kind of like a mirror of yourself. That's tying back to, like, when you hate on someone that has the same, like, attributes as you. I feel like you can always look at somebody else. Like, every time that I've even had a small encounter with, it doesn't even have to be someone that I'm, like sexually engaging with. It's like even like small, like we talked about this before, just like small interactions that I have with people. I always try to reflect and learn what I possibly can. At this point in my life, like I really value human interaction a lot.
Yeah. And relationships doesn't mean between a man and a woman in like in a romantic way. Relationships is just the energy between two things. I have a relationship with this box sitting in front of me. It's very platonic. It's not giving me much, but it's still a relationship, whereas a relationship, you know what I mean? Anyway, obviously. No.
I mean, I fully understand what you're saying there. I think the best thing to keep in mind when, like, floating through life is that every opportunity is a lesson to learn a lesson, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Like, that's the way that I have been, like, the mentality that I've adopted recently that I feel like is making me able to cope with life a lot
literally
more.
Every little thing that happens.
It's like, everything happens for a reason, and you can turn anything into a lesson. Any sort of negative occurrence that you go through, if you look at it the right way, it is a tool to help better yourself in the future.
That's such a common... I feel like everyone knows that in the back of their head, but I think me and you in the past couple days have been going through this deeper understanding of what that truly means. And as you guys hopefully are along this journey with us and go through your steps in your spiritual awakening, you'll start to grasp that, because this is another thing we were talking about in understanding things. There are levels to understanding, which is significant in itself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you're in a discussion with someone and they're talking to you and you hear the words but you don't know what the sentence means, that's like your base level of understanding. And the next would be hearing the words, understanding it, being able to form a thought. The next would be, or not form a thought, but like understand, or the input,
it and being able to relate it in your own head. There's probably better terminology for it, but it's grasping a concept. And then
there's deeper levels in which you can grasp a concept, which is...
Well, I feel like the next level after that would be being able to form your own opinion on it.
And then act out on it, or like act out and use it in your life. And then I'm sure there's more understandings that we haven't even reached yet in certain realms.
Well, I don't know if we touched on this in any of the actual videos, but I know that we had the conversation. It's like engaging with a child. Did we talk about that in another video?
I think that was the In the Flow. Yeah, I think that was on the first episode of our In the Flow. Anyway.
It's kind of like the same thing when you're approaching like this spirituality talk. You have to... It's hard to gauge, though, when you're looking into an adult's eyes, but like it's... Well, I mean, you can relate that to anything, even like the school, like being in school, like the first time you hear it, you might not grasp it. Oh... Sorry, I'm getting on a tangent here.
we're rapid fire thoughts.
I know, it's coming back to me. It's coming back, that whole conversation. We had a conversation in the car the other day, and it was good. So we're basically trying to kind of like retouch on those points that we were talking about before. Yeah. I think the next level after that is like when you hear something, you understand it, you can engage in the conversation enough, but it doesn't resonate with you.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, like, a huge factor in my spiritual awakening was I had someone that was more, like, spiritually advanced than me, like, past relationship, and, like, he was always drilling these points into my head, and I listened to him, and I was open to them, but they didn't start resonating until later on in my spiritual journey when me and her started kind of discussing things, and, like, I don't know, it's just, like, every once in a while I'll get a glimpse of things that I have... Like, it's information that I have heard before, but I did not resonate with me, if that makes any sense. And now everything's clicking.
I think that happens all the time, even between me and you, where, like, then that's why it's good to go to someone else for advice on a situation you're going through, because I have a totally different perspective on what's going on than what you do. And I can tell you something because I see it from my perspective, but until you've gone through it and are on the other side and also standing here on this side of the cliff and looking at the same side of the mountain as me, if I didn't go into that simile enough, but you know what I mean, until you're there and looking at it from the same perspective, it's not going to click the same way at all.
No, exactly.
And that's why, like, cliches exist, because I think people are so... Well, it's not even people are desperate. It's like, this is common knowledge that you should be taking with you throughout life. So that's why it gets tossed around so much, but we ignore them.
Well, because it's not fitting it. It's almost like when you are younger and it's the lessons your parents try to teach you and they want to desperately drill this information into your head, but you're not going to fully grasp that information until you're ready for it. It's really, and until it actually is applicable in your day-to-day life. Because someone can sit there, that's almost like
sorry.
Everyone does it. I mean, especially women. Like, there's a lot of the times I've seen a meme before. Actually, it's just like, do you want to? It's like when your friend is venting, you need to ask them, do you want my honest opinion or do you want to rant? Because there's a huge difference. It can go like one of both ways. Like, a lot of the times, personally, I know when I'm just bitching to bitch, and then I know when I'm actually seeking advice. But I think a lot of people don't really know the difference, and they get really defensive. But I think it's a good question to ask. I mean, I seen that meme a long time ago, but I don't know if I really...
Yeah, for sure. To circle back to, like, cliches and stuff, a good example of one is don't judge a book by its cover. It's like, that's one that we hear kind of all the time, but as you grow to be an adult and you... At some point in your life as a child, you start to understand that your parents are just people and that everyone around you is just a person who's dealing with the same shit that you are, who had absolutely no idea what was going on when they were thrust into all the situations that were put in.
Yeah.
Like, so until you have grown up and met a certain type of people and really understand that sometimes circumstances are out of your control and one thing leads to another, you're not going to understand that on a deeper level. Like, a lot of people are going to look at a homeless person and be like, what the fuck? But I personally have lived on a friend's couch, so I understand don't judge a book by its cover. Oh my god, and
it's actually really beautiful, like, when there's something, I notice this a lot in my life, like, at this point, I don't think I'm very judgmental. Like, obviously, there's certain things...
But you catch yourself a lot, and I do too now, because we both, I think, have acknowledged it off camera before, like, outside of this conversation, outside of before we even knew that the podcast was a thing. Like,
I would even do it when I was a lot younger, too. Like, I would...
Catch yourself.
It's because, like, I would bitch about something, and then it would happen to me, and then I'd be like, oh my god, I can't believe how ignorant I was before. And, like, just those little, like, life lessons that happen if you appreciate them. There's something that's extremely humbling about when you go through the process of judging somebody, and then when you go through that thing yourself. Like, I feel like it's a very valuable tool, is self-reflection.
I think it's the way of the universe. the way of the universe. The way... Holy shit, that's really what I want to say. The universe's way of sort of making you be humble. Like, we get preached, this is another cliche, be humble, be grateful for what you have, or you know what I mean? Yeah, that's very true on a very cellular and spiritual and on every single level, basically. It's a very important thing to keep in mind. Otherwise, if you don't show humility and whatever when dealing with people, it's going to happen to you and you're going to fucking...
Exactly.
It's not gonna be nice.
And I mean, we can see that, oh my god, in all walks of life. Like,
that's
even
like karma.
Exactly.
Karma's an interesting topic.
It is. It's like you're gonna, oh my goodness, that's exactly what it is. It's like when you are sitting there and you are just being negative or you're judging somebody when you do not know what it feels. It does sound so fucking cliche. Yeah. Like, I feel like those don't truly resonate with people. We just sound like one of those, like...
Yeah, like girl defined.
No, but it is...
There's such a deeper level to it, because it's about what you manifest to when you're sitting there and you're saying, oh, she's so fat, oh, she's so this, oh, she's so that. That is negative energy and negative vibrations that's going to be drawn to you.
Yes, exactly. And it says, people say it says more about you than it does them. Does it ever?
Yeah,
and the more I see it more and more now, like, the more, like, woke or aware that I become when I, like, interact with people that don't, like, have this type of dialogue. Like, I'm not, by no means, like, speaking down on them. They're just in different stages in their journey. Because I was once like that, and I still have glimpses of it. Like, we're not sitting here saying that we're perfect people. I think we're on the right track now. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. We've kind of not even cracked the code, because we're far from it, but we've unearthed something. We're, like, on the tip of the iceberg, and we need help fucking draining the ocean so we can get to the rest of it, basically, because there's a lot of I want to go back to that thought that you were saying. Oh, karma. Karma is a good example of cycles, how we can tie into like the universe going in cycles, time going in cycles. When you put out something bad, it comes back around like a boomerang,
it's another example
right?
of like, yeah.
And again, it ties into manifestation. Like,
and it helps you. Karma is a great. I keep saying this. I'm like fucking Tim the Tool Man over here.
If we say it enough, maybe someday they'll get it.
Well, you know? It is a great learning tool.
It is a learning tool.
Humbling. It's very like, I don't know. I guess it's just a more positive outlook.
It's so interesting how like. I want to say science and society is so quick to discredit, but karma is definitely a universally sort of talked about thing, but it actually is a spiritual tool, and it's actually something very tangible, and we're not taught about that on the level that we should be. So we're robbed of a lot of experiences because we're sitting there and belly aching about, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to me, or oh my God, so-and-so was so mean to me. But like, unless you're on the other side of that too, obviously, I mean, and I'm sure you've been bullied before.
Oh yeah.
And like, when I look back on that now, I do see like the people who did that to me, they were jealous, they were this, they were that. But in the moment, oh my God, I have such low self-esteem in myself as a person. I am set on so low vibrationally that I take on that more of that, that negative vibration that they're throwing at me kind of thing.
We were talking about bad karma, but good karma, I've seen that in even the last like 6 months like really shoot up. Well, for one, my whole perception on it has changed. Like, I wouldn't like to consider myself a selfish person, but I always had the lack mentality that it was drilled into me from a kid. I don't know why. I don't think like my parents or I didn't grow up poor or anything. I don't know exactly. I've been working on where that stems from, but that is one of my big like character flaws that I've been trying to work on. And like, as I've been letting go of the attachment to money, and like when I took on the belief that like what you give you get in return, I have 110% seen that act out in my life. Yeah, for sure. Like, and then the more aware of it you become, the more you see it. That's why like gratitude is a huge part of spirituality and manifestation, because you're aligning the more, like, it's a cycle in itself. Like, you fuel yourself with that positive energy, which in turn attracts more positive energy, and it kind of like, it's just snowballs, but in a good way. In the best way possible. Downhill, but like we like it, but like sledding. I think a good thing to mention about gratitude is on a more tangible level too. The more grateful for what you have right now, the less you're going to want in the long run, because you, instead of focusing on the hole that you want to fill, you're filling up the hole with what you have. I don't know. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Okay. No, I completely understand.
I'm a visual thinker, so I'm trying. Okay, good.
I don't know if you guys will understand what we're saying, but I
probably.
think so.
I think we go through this a lot when we're filming. We're like, no one's gonna get it. Oh my God, we're so dumb.
No, but it's the right people will understand, because like, it's hard to articulate things like this, because it's like communication in itself is just.
One thing we do have to remember at the end of the day, between the two of us, this will probably go into the video, whoever is meant to hear this is going to hear it when they are meant to hear it. You know what I mean? We're trying so hard to explain ourselves and whatever. If you don't get it, click
then
off.
That's fine.
You gotta go. You like it. Come back another time.
Yeah, maybe when you. Yeah, exactly. Maybe, because that's the thing too. When I started my spiritual journey, there was some things that are too heavy for me. I'm not quite there yet. Yeah. Like, I would watch like my favorite YouTubers, Leora Alexandra. Shout out Leora. Hi. And there is some things, like some videos in the beginning, that I like really resonated with, and then I would like click on other videos, and I'm like, that is like way too like esoteric for me. Like, I'm not getting it. But the farther that I am in this spiritual journey, and the more that I'm understanding and things are like clicking for me, the more information I'm able to take on. Yeah. And that is even when like I said, my ex-boyfriend, like, he was very spiritual, and something he would start to explain something, and he's like, never mind, like, I get it on a deeper level, and you're not going to understand it, and would just frustrate me. But so I get it though, because it's hard to articulate what you know when you have that knowing. Yeah.
Thank God. Oh, man, I think one of the things that have kept me from going actually insane is being able to not complete a sentence with you
I
because you also don't exactly know, but you understand.
Well, it's like it's dancing around things that are not. I believe that, like, even consciousness is not something that we're, like, able to articulate or able to, I don't know.
I know, put into words. I mean, maybe we will be someday, you know what I mean? There might be someone watching now who has the answer to what we're trying.
Well, that's...
Or, like, there's so many terms that we have learned along the way that we're like, oh, shit, that's the name for it.
Oh, like when we did the live, and I have heard the term ego death, but I never looked it up myself. I've just heard it referenced.
You mean shadow work, not ego death.
Shadow work, yeah. Shadow work, yeah, exactly. Ego death was something that I kind of understood a little bit more, but I've heard the term, and I'm like, that's exactly what we're doing, is, like, every time that there is an issue within, like, I'm a huge, like, heart on my sleeve type of person, but recently, like, I've been able, instead of just, like, bitching into a void, I've been doing the work to actually figure out the root cause of the issue, and, like, she helps me a lot, because, like, there's things that are in my head, I can dance around it all day in my head, but, like, hearing it from someone else, and then getting down to the bottom of it, like, that fresh perspective, that's why it's really important, I think, if you don't have anyone in your life that you can talk to really... Even if you're not, like, mentally ill or struggling with something, it's still, there's no harm in going to talk, in talking with somebody and, like, having someone help, like, sort those thoughts in your head.
A spiritual awakening can be this beautiful, fun thing, but there is a darker side of it that induces a lot of anxiety, loneliness, etc., that you will see spiritual people talk about. But I think that a big part of that, for me personally anyway, I was feeling these negative things, is because I had this understanding of stuff, but I couldn't put it into words, and of course that is going to drive you a little bit crazy. Crazy, as I said, you know what I mean?
Not being able to articulate or work through these thoughts and feeling like you're alone. That's what happened to me, was because it's almost like, there is a quote that's talking about, like, it's almost like once you have all of this knowledge, like, it's kind of like...
It's exactly like that, actually. That's precisely what it is. That's genuinely, that's 50-60% of this video that we're going to cut out for you.
When you start picking up little signs along the way and what gets the momentum behind your spiritual awakening, there's a huge underlying amount of denial that's going on there, because you're trying to tell yourself
like
you're
the
crazy.
Stages of grief, because you have to let go of this physical world that we've become so accustomed to and attached to, right? With, like, the money and the fucking buying shit, materialism.
It's rewriting your whole life, like how your relationship to the physical world. You start questioning everything, and it's very lonely and very scary.
Oh, it's terrifying.
And it wasn't until, I'm so glad that I know that it was destiny for us to meet each other, but we actually lived together for fucking... Oh my God, 4 or 5 months before we even had these talks. But you've seen the things
even
that I was going through.
Even longer before they got as deep as they are now.
Yeah, oh my God. They started off, like, really minuscule, or we're just talking about more, like, our mental health and kind of, like, it was like a venting. That's how it started. But then, like, little increments started getting, like, introduced in there, and then we kind of had a greater understanding that we both think the same way, or we're both... spiritual without even, I wasn't even labeling it spiritual back then. Like, I went through a whole year of a spiritual awakening when I had someone there kind of, like, holding my hand through it, and then that kind of went away from me, and I wasn't really able to talk to him anymore, and, like, I remember hitting, like a breaking point. Like, I was literally, like, lock me up. I'm not healthy in the brain. I can't.
That.
But you know what that was me having zero tolerance left for the fucking bullshit of the reality that's sold to us. Like, that's all it really was. Like, I wasn't happy, and I didn't know why. And I feel like I had all this information that was, like,
Thank God
I didn't know what to do with it, but now we have the podcast.
Thank God, like, there are people who go their whole life and, like, don't realize that till they're... Like, they have a whole career set up and they're already doing
or have
the
kids
world
and
thing.
Shit, and, like, they have too many responsibilities. They're too caught up in this physical realm or whatever you want to call it. Like, that is not something... For me and Hannah both, like, we've realized that it does not serve us. Like, we have a greater purpose, and I'm confident in that. And, like, the more that we, like, practice speaking on camera and, like, we're trying to build our audience, the more that I realize that this is exactly what we're meant for. Like, the momentum that has built behind it. Like, this is our third sit down and film video, and look at, like, even, I don't know if there's
God.
anybody that's been following us, but you can clearly see the progression with like the momentum is just like,
yeah, if you could see the behind the scenes of the progression of like, oh my gosh,
because there's a lot of stuff that goes into this that I don't think a lot of people realize unless you make them, because I didn't.
No, God, no. I mean, and we all think it in the back of our minds, and this ties back to you don't get it until you fucking get it. But YouTubers say, fuck. Until you're sitting in front of a camera stuttering, trying to get out one sentence.
Yeah, literally.
Trying to introduce yourself. See, I'm like, I can't even get a thought out right now. It's
because you're acknowledging it. That's almost, sorry, there's one thing that I want to point out. So I have like a really, really, really hard time with, I don't even know if you call it like stage fright, but it's when I become really aware of what I'm saying and I start to disassociate when I'm saying it. Oh my God,
that's all that happened, that first video, all that happened. When you see me starting, I don't know if we cut out all those spots, but I was like, holy shit, wow. I'm like literally levitating out of my chair as I'm talking.
It's almost like an outer body experience. Like you don't feel connected, and that happens to me all the time. Like when I'm trying to explain something, when I know that I have to articulate something, or when I'm put on the spot, it's because you're focusing your attention there and the momentum quickly builds and then your energy is no longer on the thought itself, but the communication.
You're manifesting yourself stupid, basically.
Yeah. Well, it's because you get so caught up on the words that you're saying instead of like the overall message, what you're trying to fucking...
Actually, you get... yes. It's so funny because I feel like thoughts are like in the spiritual realm and words are in the physical realm that we keep on talking about. Like words are 3-dimensional and thoughts are 4-dimensional, and that's why we have a hard time putting things into words, because we're literally filtering this big abstract thought and trying to squeeze it through a fucking 1-dimensional, you know what I mean? Exactly. It's hard.
Yeah, you're suppressing, that's what, I mean, language can only do so much. Look how much it's evolved even in... since we start, I don't know, I did take communications in university, but that is like a fucking lifetime away. But it was very interesting. It's talking about like, because communication does lead into like letters, the newsprint was a huge thing that we focused on, and then it tied into like our communication is evolving in all different ways.
Yeah, definitely.
And like even not only on a vocabulary level, but how we communicate.
Social media. Video, shit like that, for sure.
But I think the essence of it is there's some thoughts that are so complex that there isn't quite the right vocabulary to... But that's where vibes come in. That's why I think me and you are so in tune to each other, because we know what we're talking about. And you should hear us too, especially when we're super baked. Like we're just like, I
was gonna say, and then the other one's like, oh my God, absolutely.
Or like we'll help each other out because we know we're tuning into that same kind of like energetic flow. Yeah. We're tapping into it. We know like overall the point of it. But we're both dancing around the types of words that we can use to
get it out.
We don't even need to articulate to each other anymore.
Most of the time,
we're just learning about how to articulate to an audience, really. Like it's...
true. It is a very, very different experience for sure. I think that that whole thing, how you can't get certain thoughts into words, is why it's important to put down your phone and like actually look into your significant other's eyes. I've heard... like, I don't know, some statistic. I don't know what it actually is, but the point is the more you look into someone's eyes, the more attached that you get to them. And there's a reason, because when you look into someone's eyes,
it's the windows to their soul.
Yeah, there's extra communication that's going on. And we do it with each other. We do it with our significant other. I do it with you, even though I'm not actually seeing any, because I need that extra... You get it? You understand?
Yes, it's almost like the next step after like body language, because I wouldn't even necessarily tie eye contact into body language, but body language is like another barrier. Eye contact
is like a whole different, for sure.
It's almost like with eye contact, it's like direct energy. Yeah. If you get what I'm saying. I don't know. Well, I know you do.
I like literally see the
photons or whatever the fuck. An interesting thing enough, or interesting topic that I think we should talk about, is how some people have a harder time reading energy than other people, and what constitutes someone who is good at reading energy versus someone who isn't. Is it just awareness and practice? Because I feel like the more you're told, basically, or you're fed, I don't know where it even comes from, why you just don't trust your gut. Because I feel like everyone is saying trust your gut, but no one really, like, I don't think people truly...
But they don't teach that in school systems. They say trust science, trust math, trust... You know what I mean? Like,
True.
Like, we kind of push that narrative, but at the same time, there's so much other...
again, tying it back, it doesn't resonate exactly until you're like, oh my god, every time when you start bringing awareness to it, like, vibes are real. And, like, it's, you can walk into a room and like, sense the energy.
Yes, definitely.
But I, my whole entire life, told myself that I'm just weird. Like, or, like, I'm just like, no, like,
You're
I'm
just
overthinking and overreacting. Like, they're real. Sometimes... Just like I do believe in any form of communication, things can get misconstrued, and that's why I believe verbal communication is so obviously, I mean, obviously it's essential, but I think it is, like, not, you can trust your gut, but I do believe that sometimes there could be another blockage in the energy that's not, you might be interpreting the blockage in the energy different than the other person, but I do believe that the blockage is there, but you guys could be interpreting it different given on your own perception.
I think that thought ties a lot into social media and our phones and how we communicate now, and how that this is being done purposely so that there is miscommunications amongst one another. You know what I mean? Like, there's examples that I could use that I just don't want to bother getting into, but the point is they do it on purpose so that we are losing our humanity day by day. The masks over everyone's faces. Yeah, no one can smile at each other at all. That's like one of those little things. Yeah, exactly. That is very traumatizing to a child in the first early ages. They need to see someone's face because it's crucial to their development. Like, the whole mask over your face, that's 100% a way to dehumanize us and sort of break us down even more in the shitstorm that they've decided to throw at us this year during 2020.
Well, I think everything, okay, I'm going to try to articulate this, but I feel like sometimes when we start talking about this, the both of us have, like, an us versus them mindset because of the elite, but I don't believe that everything, I do believe that a lot of it is orchestrated by design, I do, but then I feel like sometimes it is just the evolution of the collective in general, like, all the little intermingling. It's not so much, it's them pulling all the strings. I do believe that they pull strings, but I just do you get what I'm saying by that? It's just like the evolution of, like, we ate
it was inevitable kind of thing.
Like,
I don't think so, because TV's, I don't know.
You know, I get what you're saying. It's, I go back and
think it's more calculated than we personally even understand.
Oh, well, with social media, how it started out, I feel like everything, it doesn't always
Mark
start
Zuckerberg,
from...
yeah, for sure, that whole movie.
Because it wasn't designed, like, now when we pull down on our phone screens, it replicates, like, when you're pulling the lever when you're gambling. Like, like, every time you refresh it, the circle goes around, you're like, ooh, what kind of dopamine am I going to get this time? I do believe it is designed to keep us...
Look at TikTok. TikTok's the perfect
Oh my god, everything. Well, and even, like, the algorithms, how, like, insanely accurate they are. Like, how could you not be addicted to it?
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it is important to, like, I do appreciate technology. I'm not one of those anti, like, I have an appreciation for it. It's a big part in my life. This is the basis of...
It's so important. Without the internet, we wouldn't be able to reach the two people that we have across, you know what I mean, across
shout
borders.
Out our 2 followers.
Love you guys. Even who knows if they're even following us anymore.
I know, that could be done and over with now, but whatever. We'll have to go live on Podbean again and see what's up.
I think another thing to keep in mind with social media is how selective people are of what they put out there on social. I mean, most people anyway. There's a lot of overshares, but for the most part, when you scroll through someone's Instagram, you need to remember that is a highlight reel of their life and not actually their life, because I think that it takes a toll on our self-esteem and our outlook towards ourselves.
Luckily, I think that people are becoming more aware of that. Because I think before, like, I think everyone kind of knew it in the back of their head, but they didn't want to admit it, that it affects you, because, like, you just like to think that it just doesn't affect you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you'd like to think that you're smarter than that, but it's your subconscious, and it definitely does. And, like, since I've acknowledged it when it does affect me, I've deleted social media a couple times. Like, it's good for your mental health. Side note, a lot of the fucking big social media, like,
people don't
even use it because they know how harmful and toxic it is.
It
doesn't have to be, though.
No, for sure. I think it's a moderation thing, but we don't practice that at all, with our phones in front of our faces 24/7. Like, I'm sure there's some sort of happy medium there, but because it's such a new thing, like, we don't know. We were just talking about influencers making social medias for their kids, like their babies, their children that they're having. Is that going to be detrimental? We don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't know. First generation doing it, so we're
just out here living. Like,
yeah, just out here posting shit.
Yeah.
Hoping for the best.
A good example is like how many times influencers and people have been canceled because of people that are digging up old tweets. Like, for one, we're not even that person anymore. Two, the world was a very different place.
Yes.
3, social media was a very different place.
Yeah.
4, we didn't understand repercussions. I think the internet, which we're understanding now.
It's so sad that we can look back on history and be like, oh, we've come so far, but people as individuals aren't allowed to come far. They are what they said 12 years ago, and that's it. And they are that bad joke that they made that one time in 2005, and that's it. Sorry, you're canceled.
It's called growth, baby. Look it up.
Yeah, right. Maybe if you went through it, you wouldn't be doing that to other people.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure. Yeah. Do you want to get doxxed? Like, I think. No. Well, that man. Actually, this is another stupid fucking cliche, but it's so true. But like, just be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? There's one that's like right around that. Like, it's. But not you get what you give.
What goes around comes around.
What goes around comes around in all aspects, yes.
Or treat other people the way
you want to be treated.
There's like all of those. Yeah. And yet still somehow, for some reason, we're assholes to people behind a computer. I definitely 100% have probably left a mean comment somewhere on someone's thing, and that's not fucking cool. But it's because I was a little bit.
Tying it back into, like, us becoming, like, dehumanized, like, that is a thing, too. Why are we speaking to each other like that? It's probably because we're not looking into each other's eyes. You wouldn't, like, the hate and the negativity that festers online is just unreal. It's like people use social media to unleash all that negative energy that they've pent up. And that's why I think social media's become a negative place. And even,
well, that's like anything. I'm going to interrupt you real quick. Even the government and, like, all these things that have started with good intentions, we always say this, somewhere along the way gets corrupted and...
Well, yes, everything is susceptible to corruption, especially, like, the momentum that behind it when that gets, like, hijacked by negativity. Like, I don't know, it's kind of like an unstoppable force until we bring awareness to it and actively try to change it. And I think it's important to only follow people that make you feel good, because following people that make you feel insecure or girls that have an unattainable body is only
gonna hurt you in the long run. And I think that goes for, like, hate watching someone too. Like, I think we all catch ourselves doing it when we get into those little rabbit holes, on YouTube, and we start watching someone new. We're like, oh my god, I can't believe this. I can't believe that. Click off the fucking video, dude. Click off the video. Do yourself a favor.
All energy is contagious, and that includes negative energy. And it's kind of like it hides it under, like, the vise of, like, drama, like drama channels. But why are we like? It's kind of but we do engage in it. Like, me and you both like watching those videos. But, like, why engage in that? Like, why is it? It's like there's, like, small-minded people talk about other people, and then, that's...
and there's also, like, so there's 2 reasons I think that people do that. One is because they see characteristics that they don't like in themselves, and the other is jealousy. And I think that's a lot of why I personally end up hate watching or hate scrolling through people's Instagram, is because obviously I would like to have a certain body type. Obviously there's a certain type of career that I would like. Obviously there's a certain number of money that I want in a bank account, and odds are the people that I'm looking at and hating on have those things, and that's why I'm mad. And I realize that now, but
it's like the for sure. But I'm talking about, like, drama channels in general. Like, I mean, you do you, like, get your fucking cash flow, but I just mean it's just weird that these things even exist, so people like drama
that we feed
so
into
much.
Yeah,
and that's just before social media. Like, look at, like, tabloid articles and everything like that. Like, why are we so caught up in, like,
Other
it's
people's business.
It's because they're feeding us
It's
negative energy.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's another way that negative energy is fed to us. Like,
yeah, I know. Another way we're kept asleep, because when I do go to click on a YouTube video now, it's because I want to get my mind off things, because we're so deep. We're basically living in the 4D realm every single day, and so deep in it that I'm looking for anything that doesn't require brain power or high vibrations to turn that off for 5 minutes so I can come back down to earth.
Exactly.
But,
back down to earth.
Yeah.
Wow, that's another, like, that's some etymology for you too, like that term.
Yeah, down to, like, the physical, actual ground, because I definitely feel when, and I think we both feel this, when you get lost in your thoughts, it's dissociation? Dissociation is what I was going to say, which is not the word, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, disassociation.
There you go, that's the one. But is disassociation astral projection? Please, someone let me know, because I'm not 100% sure. Like, because
I guess it's almost like its own form of, like, it's,
an outer body experience.
It's not
sometimes it feels like that, but sometimes it doesn't.
When I disassociate, I wouldn't say that I feel like I'm walking out of my body. I just don't feel like I belong in my body, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't see myself. I still feel physically, but it's almost like I don't even know if there's words to truly explain what I feel when I do it. Like, it's just a disconnect from the reality that I can see with my eyes.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is something that I can actually accurately put into words either, unfortunately. But it is something that everyone experiences, and now that we do have a name for it, I'm sure that everyone watching understands what we are referring to. But you can experience dissociation on different levels too, and I think if you actually lean into dissociation, that is what turns into astral projection, because what you're doing is your consciousness is slowly, it's kind of like floating, and you're seeing your brain work from outside, but astral projection is being able to push yourself spiritually outside of even that, and into, I don't know, the spiritual realm, and you walk around, you go places, and I don't know, it sounds cool. Haven't done it yet. Been trying.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I believe I have astral projected in my sleep. Like, I have, like, glimpses of it, but nothing, like, tangible. And because
But it's like, how often have we astral projected and either didn't know or can't remember too?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's, like, a thing that I don't know.
It's so weird, if you do kind of believe that, like, when you go to sleep, like, you're leaving the physical realm and going up into, like, the spiritual realm, it's kind of strange. Like, I wonder why we can't remember it when we wake up for the most part. Like, how come we're not, is it like, because we can't have too much knowledge and understanding, we won't serve the purpose here on Earth of, like, learning it.
Or maybe it has something to do with, like, the connection to the physical earth and, like, being asleep, like, as soon as you open your eyes, you're thrust back into whatever level you went back in at. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I do believe that, did we touch on this in the last one? I'm having such a hard time distinguishing, like, what we've just talked about between me and you.
And on camera. I know, me too. We were talking about in the car yesterday, I believe it was, about how the morning is so crucial, because you were just tapped into that spiritual realm. So when you come back to earth, your mind is at the most open point that it can be. So that thought that happens first thing in the morning, whether it's negative or positive, is going to set the tone for your day, which we all know in the back of our heads, waking up on the wrong side of the bed. But when you understand spirituality and understand that kind of concept, or believe what I have gleaned, this is what I believe, because based off of what I have learned.
When you brought it up before, it all made sense for me.
I know it's a hard thing to put into words, but if you believe that your body means nothing and that the whole world and actual reality is up here and is going on in the space in between, then you'll get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole
that ties into,
too.
like, you don't know how to gauge someone's knowledge with stuff, so you don't know how to interpret it to them, that it'll be tangible for them and they'll be able to understand it. But I did have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you believe that, like, negativity can come solely from
the dream,
from like that higher realm that we go to when we fall asleep?
Yeah, for sure, because sometimes, right? And I think that being able, like, keeping a dream journal and noting how you feel and what you remember when you wake up is a big way of, like, controlling this, because when you wake up from a nightmare, you wake up scared. Have you ever woken up? Well,
yeah,
everyone
have those
terrors.
Yeah,
but whatever narrative was going on in the spiritual realm has translated over into the physical realm when you wake up, because you're still feeling that fear, even though there's nothing in the room. But
I feel like, actually, now that you mention it, it's if you do have unfinished business that is, like, in the physical realm that maybe you're not putting any consciousness towards, but it's an issue in your life that is going to cause nightmares, or there's unfinished business in the spiritual realm, that when you're waking up on the wrong side of the bed, or you're waking up from a nightmare, or you don't understand why you're having these dreams, it is coming from, like, a subconscious thing from your reality that you're not addressing.
Yeah, a spiritual awakening or an ego death that you have to go through in the next little while, I'm assuming. Yeah, that's an interesting thought for sure. I'm pretty sure, because, like, you hear about people getting abducted by aliens. I'm pretty sure that kind of thing is actually just other beings in the spiritual realm hijacking their consciousness to some place that they don't want to go. Or some place that, like, you know how dreams are a projection of what you've seen in your day-to-day life? I think an abduction happens when you're experiencing something that you know in your gut that you haven't, this isn't your subconscious replaying something. This is a new information that is...
It feels different than a natural dream would. But then again, though, there is sometimes where dreams feel so real.
And that's why I talk about astral projection with dreams, because is that what that is when it's, I had a real dream, I had a lucid... Are you just astral projecting? Is that actually happening and you're just so conscious because you've exercised that consciousness muscle, or you just get thrust into it by mistake sometimes, right? Because I don't know, sometimes people have those out of body or realistic dreams without trying.
So but I don't really understand. I didn't look up astral projection that much, so I don't really get it. But, like, is it just essentially, like, you're leaving your body and you're staying in this realm, or is it that you're choosing? Like, I don't understand where you go, like, when you get out of your body.
It's like an in-between realm. You're just kind of watching, like, you know, in movies when they're like, oh, look at your past, and they're watching it and things are going through them. I think it's kind of like that, where you can't physically or, like, be involved with the situation, but you are there consciously.
You can't manipulate it?
Yeah, but your consciousness is there instead of in your body. Without you dying.
So, like, you can get out and look at your body and then keep going. I don't think that I've ever...
That's part of... There's different ways to astral project and put yourself in it, but that's part of, like, the practice is you close your eyes, you visualize your room, every detail as much as you can, and then once you get to a certain point, it's right before you fall asleep where you're stepping through that door, that you pull yourself out of sleep and you get up, stand up, but it's your consciousness.
Stand up, fight for your life.
Yeah, but with your consciousness specifically, and leave your body behind, because who fucking needs that anyway?
Yeah, well, I hope to one day be able to do that. I kind of gave up on it, though, because I fall asleep too fast when I'm listening to those meditations.
I feel that. I go in and out, like, of phases where I'm trying to do it, because I don't think it's healthy to try to do every night, because if you are astral projecting or tapping into some of those things on purpose, it's physically exhausting, and I need to sleep sometimes.
I guess because you're not actually resting. You're staying in this realm and you're not healing. When you first sent me that astral projection video, like, I watched that, and then I went in because I, like, opened the link, so I had to go into, like, actual YouTube, and I looked up astral projection, and it was, like, one of the first videos was, like, all negative. Did you watch that one? They were like telling you not to do it because your spirit can get hijacked, and it was like there was a very like weird tone.
You
like,
have to be careful.
Like, I don't even feel like he was recommending it. I don't
always
remember the
saying
whole
not
vibe
to
of
do it all.
Like he just everything that I heard was negative about it.
Interesting.
Like you have to be careful.
Like
drugs,
that's how you too, right? Because when you take LSD, you're opening those neural pathways that you would be opening when you're asleep. And there are people who have bad trips because they can't handle it. Maybe he couldn't handle it. Yeah. But I mean, then who's to say that we could, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't had bad trips, but people have had bad trips. But
well, you know what? Now that you mention it, it's almost like when you take psychedelics, you're consciously, changing.
That's what it is, yeah.
Well, some of it I feel like is out of your control because I've definitely had, like, moments where I'm like, I don't want to think like this anymore. It's scary and, like, it's too much, but you're seeing the world. You're, like, clearly, like, elevating your consciousness in a weird way that it's almost like it's not quite when you're sleeping, but you're still seeing the world. Well, it's a mind altering substance.
I think that's why exactly. That's why people have bad trips and stuff, because it's real, but you don't know it's real, and you're told that it's not actually real, but it is, because it's your brain opening up, and I don't know. Psychedelics are definitely a tool to open up your certain brain pathways, the same way sleep does. But with sleep, you do it unconsciously, so you are probably going to forget it. But with psychedelics, you're doing it consciously, so you can usually recall it a little easier, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Psychedelics are a whole other podcast, can of worms, YouTube video, whatever you want to call it.
Another topic that we will dive into. But for now, I think we're going to wrap this up. Well, it was good chat today.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We really didn't think that we were going to get anything out today. So whatever you've seen, hopefully it was good. Maybe it's all trash. Who knows?
No, I feel like it was good. It was good. So if you liked what you heard, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Podbean at the Eureka Effect, and on YouTube we are the Eureka Effect Podcast.
Oh, and Instagram. Don't forget about our Instagram. Not that I've posted recently, but it's exciting because we get to like talk to people there. So
yes, exactly. So if you have any ideas that you want us to discuss, please feel free in the comments or give us a DM. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, we're always waiting to hear from one of you guys. And on that note, talk to you later.
Have a good one.
Bye.